Welcome back to another episode of Another Look. This is our show that we have. She's Janet, host of the Valley Today, Janet Michael, and I'm Dylan Nicholls, news director here at the River 95.3. And this is our show where we review the news for the week that's been going on in the Shenandoah Valley. We've got a lot we want to talk about.
Yeah, and it's not even the end of the week yet because you're making us record early.
It's and to be fair, we have to give you the timestamp. It's Thursday. It's 2:37 p.m. on this Thursday, August the 2nd.
So who knows what could happen tomorrow?
I know. We might miss a lot. But frankly, I've got a long car ride ahead of me tomorrow.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, and I'm not in the mood. I can't handle it.
So you mean I'm not going to get to sit in here with you on a Friday afternoon and listen to you whine about how tired you are and what a long week it's been? I am devastated.
Yeah.
I look forward to that every week.
I know you do. Well, now you get a day off, and you can go home and listen to, I don't know. Take three, or, you can listen. You can have a nice conversation with your husband about news from around the Commonwealth in a week, or Well,
I don't know. I may go home and talk to him about this rabid cat.
That's pretty fun, right? So that's one of the stories you picked out, was this rabid cat wandering around. And you'll notice we'll talk about that later. But that's one of your stories. What else did you pick out?
I picked out the fence dispute causes Winchester schools to take legal action because...
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
That was quite the conundrum.
Quite the conundrum. It's something very small, yet very big at the same time. It's a strange one, and it's also, coupled with some other stuff that Winchester Public Schools has been facing recently. Let's just say that was referenced in there, and I don't think I included it in the story, but we can talk about that. In
the grand scheme of picking your battles.
Yeah.
But, and then, of course, I had to pick the suspect in series of Linden area break-ins caught because that impacted you.
It impacted me directly. In fact, dibs, Janet. Because I was literally our station manager armed me in case this guy came around. And because this guy was breaking into cars around my area, breaking into homes. The Warren County Sheriff's Office, they only mentioned a July 27th incident that was the latest incident.
So we're going to talk more about, because he was spotted in Fauquier.
So we'll talk more about that.
But knowing that was probably going to be your pick, I also had a backup of, this is just so creepy, the Woodstock salon worker films customers and child in bathroom.
I also picked that too.
Because that actually, something similar to that actually happened here in Front Royal at a coffee shop.
Did it really?
Which happened before your time, so I know you're not going to know anything about it, so we can talk about that too.
All right, well, let's take a break, and I want to open right with that, because that's interesting to me, because I picked that story, too, and I want to know what the scoop is in that Front Royal thing. So when we come back, we'll talk about that with some more Another Look.
It's an award-winning lunch hour, every day at noon with the News at Noon and Valley Today. Listen live on air, online, or on demand at theriver953.com. That's theriver953.com.
And we're back with some more Another Look. We've got these pervert stories that we got to talk about. There's no other way to put it. This nail salon thing, Janet. Well, first of all, I guess walk us through the story.
Well, the story headline is Woodstock salon worker films customer's child in bathroom. So apparently, I guess it was somebody who worked at this nail salon or hair. That doesn't say whether it was a hair salon too, whether it was just a nail salon.
It's called
set his iPhone up.
It's called Pro Nail Salon. So I think it's just a nail salon. Yeah.
But he put his iPhone in the bathroom to videotape people. Is that what am I understanding that right?
Yeah. His name is Hyochi Wien, and he basically set up his iPhone in a trash can behind or inside of a paper cup with a hole cut in it so that the iPhone could film through the hole. And this is the strange thing about it, and this is maybe the most disturbing thing for me when I try to fill in the blanks, because what he did was, when the 13-year-old girl who he was attempting to film that day approached him, he's 22 years old, and said, "Did you film me? Is this what you were doing?" He confessed to it. And when he opened his phone, apparently she noticed a bunch of other photographs on there. And so, first of all, there's multiple incidents. I think this thing might, blow up a little more when people start realizing that they went there. It's also very disturbing because I went on their Facebook page and you see I saw a mother post, took my daughter for her very first nail thing here. So great. What an exciting time. That was so much fun. it's devastating when you find out that some creep like this has been doing this. But beyond that, when I think about the reasons he might have had for completely confessing to this girl, I kind of wonder if was a tactic to gain her confidence.
Oh, he thought it was his way of hitting on her?
A little,
that's so
in a weird way, and I don't know, but I can't think of any other reason he might have, unless he was absolutely ashamed, but then why would he open up his phone and show her these or make visible these other photographs? I mean,
He may have figured at 13 she didn't understand, and he could have been saying, oh, yeah, I did that, but look, I've done it with a lot of other people, too. It's really no big deal, thinking that at 13 she may not comprehend that it really kind of is a big deal.
Could have been something like that, like this is like our policy or something, who knows? So that's the story there. But you were saying earlier before the break that something similar happened in Front Royal a while ago?
Yes, a couple of years ago, there was a coffee shop here in town, and during their renovations, it had been an old barn, and it was being renovated into this coffee shop. The coffee shop had been open for some time, and somebody went in to use the restroom and noticed a hole in the wall across from the toilet.
Ugh.
And there was a camera. The wood, because the coffee shop was Happy Creek Coffee Company, and they had everything in the coffee shop was what's it called, reusable wood. I mean, it was whatever that word is that's going right out of my head right now. But so the siding was wood and all of that sort of thing. Well, one of the pieces of wood slats could pop out, and behind it was an actual camera.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
That was
and
a couple
then
years
it blew
ago?
up. Apparently, there was the owner of the coffee shop said it wasn't his. He didn't know anything about it. He did not put it there. There was no card in the camera. It had a Wi-Fi connection so that it was being streamed to somewhere else that the police department could never find out who. They found no equipment or anything, I don't think, in the coffee shop owner's office, which was upstairs over the coffee shop. The last I remember, and I could be wrong, it ended up that there was a guy who had been trying to buy the coffee shop, and the owner wouldn't sell it. And the assumption was that he put this camera there, never really took pictures of anyone, but then reported that this camera was there in the hopes that the business would tank, and then he could buy it, because the person who discovered it did not leave it where it was. They removed it and came walking out of the bathroom with it in their hands, having already called the police on their cell phone from inside the bathroom, and said, "What is this, and why was it in the bathroom?"
Huh.
So it was just this strange turn of events. And for the longest time, it was all over Facebook. It was all over the news. Everybody was talking about these pictures that may or may not have been taken of people during whatever time period in the bathroom at the coffee shop.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, whatever came.
Nothing.
No property values went down. He never sold it.
No, he still owns it. Now it has a second location.
I know about that in Linden, right? Or not Linden,
well,
sorry,
no, wait a minute,
Plains.
I say that.
The Plains.
He had that was his first location. He opened another one in Shepherdstown. He opened the one in the Plains.
Okay.
I think Shepherdstown has since closed, but he has a cafe now also on Main Street in Front Royal. He's on Jackson Street in Front Royal, but now has another little cafe that I think is down near the movie theater on Main Street, but I'm not sure.
Oh, that's cool. I really like Happy Creek.
Everything there he built was built from reusable wood. His coffee was organic. He had gluten free. It was very.
Do you think they'll sponsor this?
I don't know. I know him. You want me to call him and ask him? I used to go in there all the time.
Yeah, sure.
But now I never get outside of these four walls after drinking Maxwell House. This is what my life has become. This is the glory of being a radio star.
The glory, yes, the glory.
Maxwell House in paper cups, no less, that I bring from home.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
So, yeah, I mean, but the whole thing is just so
weird. Yeah, it's really, it's disturbing. It's another one of those instances where you just sort of take it for granted that an institution or any business won't have it out of its own self-interest, and there's one employee or there's one sort of devious mind that's out there.
Yeah. Well, it just makes you think whenever you go anywhere.
Yeah.
To do a quick look around, especially in some place like a bathroom. You know, scan the walls, scan the ceiling, look in the, just...
Oh, I tap the walls looking for hollow spots. Just, I'm all over that. Well, I think it's time for us to take a quick break. When we come back, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I might talk about this suspect in the series of Linden area break-ins. We already kind of covered that, though.
Well, I want to hear how it affected you personally, because we didn't talk about that.
I was terrified, shaking on my boots. Not a night's sleep. And I also want to talk about this L.A. man, and this is the most recent story that we published Thursday. I don't even think you saw this. And I covered it a while ago, and this is a follow-up, because this guy was arrested. His name's Cesar Navarro, and he was arrested because he was in L.A. He would mail meth in to a woman in Stevens City, who would then she acted as a mail drop so that it could be dealt in West Virginia.
Oh.
And he did this for a while.
So he's an entrepreneur.
This story, dear listener, is about an entrepreneur. So we'll talk about that and some more, and maybe the suspect in the series of Linden area break-ins when we come back with some more Another Look.
It's an award-winning lunch hour every day at noon with the News at Noon and Valley Today. Listen live on air, online, or on demand at theriver953.com. That's theriver953.com.
And we're back with some more Another Look. We're going to talk now about, let me see. Let me choose. I have the power now.
These things all
I've got them
spread
out,
here.
yeah.
I can spread mine out.
Their fate is in my hands, the listener's fate. Let's talk drugs, people. Let's talk drugs. Well, you wanted to talk drugs because look at you trying to copy me, spreading out your papers. It's too late, Janet. I'm the professional here. What happened recently?
My secret stash.
Can you hear her papers shuffling around? What happened recently was, and this was a story we covered a while ago, this guy that I mentioned before the break, Cesar Mario Navarro, he was caught, and he was caught in a sort of strange, I guess you might call it an entrapment or sting operation kind of a thing, where basically he was mailing in meth to Stevens City.
So he was making it and then putting it in a package and putting it in the mail.
Mailing it in to an address in Stevens City on Bluebird Drive. And
I know where that is.
You know where that is? Mm-hmm. And that address belonged to a woman named Mercedes Vivolo, sorry. I always do that. You know how many takes it takes me to do this story? And Vivolo was she was receiving these mail drops, and she would basically, and it's not clear whether or not she would act as courier or whether she would simply hold the packages for somebody that would do a pickup. My suspicion
Which technically,
is
that still make her a courier, even though she's not delivering them, she's still holding them for someone else to pick up.
You could probably say that. I don't know legally.
Should have been a lawyer.
You really should have.
Saul. Should have been Saul.
Yeah. So would your name? Jimmy McGill, Janet Michael. Oh my God. The JM. Okay, so that lines up. So you would be Sarah Gucher. That's more Fargo.
Okay,
I think.
Bluebird Lane.
Sarah Gucher. Basically, yeah. So I guess she was a drop-off point, and someone would probably pick it up at her house, is my guess. The details on that aren't clear. But he sent a total of 19 packages of meth to her. 19. Before she was basically caught in the act of receiving one of these packages. And when police caught her, she cooperated with them by getting him to send her an incriminating text. And then once he did that and they began to charge him based on that, then she testified against him in court. They flipped her. So yeah, and a very interesting story. His brother was also involved, and I think his brother Kevin received 20 years. This guy ended up getting a 40-year sentence, and that also included the forfeiture of $350,600 and property in all of that.
Now, where was he? Where was he mailing them to her from?
L.A.
Oh,
all the way across the country. They say that
it is kind of genius.
Well,
because it's not like anybody looks in your packages or pays any attention to what you get in the mail.
Well, I think these were big enough that they actually had to be dropped off in a mail center, though. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I don't know enough about this, but
I mean, I know that neighborhood that she lived in is a residential neighborhood. So in theory, the mailman could bring her a box of virtually any size.
Oh, that's true. And leave
that particular development is right across the road from Bass Hoover
Yeah,
Elementary.
I think now that you're saying it, I think it must have been caught like in some distribution center somewhere along the way, basically, and was addressed to her. So you're right, yeah. So, but I mean, that's the problem is that for the mail to get to you, it has to go through like so many distribution centers, and if they do like a blind screen one day, then you're kind of screwed, which is probably what happened to her. But 50 pounds of meth overall that he dealt in Grant County this way, Grant County, West Virginia. And they say that the street value of a pound of meth is, I think, somewhere between $20,000 and $25,000, if I read that correctly. So,
yikes.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So, yeah, that's what was going on there. And now that was kind of a developing story. But we've kind of had we had another meth story in Edinburg that wasn't a sentencing. It was the actual event. They found it was a bit, the wording was a bit strange, but basically it sounded like they found 3 different meth labs in this one location, in this one property. You got the story.
Burnt up meth lab.
That was the quote. I literally quoted the guy. That's what was in the report, which I kind of laughed too. I had to chuckle.
And the fact that the guy's name, the 26-year-old, was named Dylan.
Yeah, I know.
Now, it did spell it differently, so I guess there's a little bit of...
Yeah.
But yeah, from what I read in the story, last Friday, the 27th of July, 26-year-old Dylan Daniel Grandstaff was arrested. The Shenandoah County Sheriff's Office visited his apartment. Outside in front of the residence, he discovered what appeared to be a burnt-up meth lab. Proceeded to find 2 others at the backside of the residence, found Drano crystals, trash bag containing batteries, blister packs of Claritin D. And then when he started talking to neighbors, found out that he got all jacked up on meth, I guess, and was waving a gun around. And
that would be probably a good guess. And for all the Breaking Bad fans out there, that Claritin D means he was doing a pseudo cook, which means he wasn't making the baby blue, but he was. All references that you don't understand, Janet. But the second you watch Better Call Saul, you better.
At some point, I'm going to have.
You
to
better
watch
jump
Breaking
into this
Bad
new series.
Yeah.
And anyone who's not already watching it, watch Better Call Saul. It's going to premiere.
Yeah, or listen to. We're going to reference our new podcast, Take 3, but it may not actually be anywhere by the time you hear this particular podcast.
Yeah, you never know. But
stay tuned. Take 3 is coming.
we did a kind of a dry run episode yesterday. We recorded it. And we talked about Better Call Saul. We talked about a lot of things.
Yes.
It was very exciting. It was very big league. It was tremendous.
My husband's very annoyed with me because he doesn't think Tom Cruise is nearly as bad of an actor as I think he is. So when he listened to it last night, he's like, really? He said, you're just way too judgmental. I'm like, I'm sorry. Have you met me? I mean, we've been married 20 years. Duh, this should not be like
you put a
revelation for him.
You put a ring on judgmental, buddy. Oh, man. All right. Well, it's probably time for a quick break here. And when we come back, we're going to get to the real segment, the real reason you listen to Another Look, the fireworks, the finale, the big story. It's our dumb news.
Yeah.
Mostly dumb criminal. I think we should start calling this dumb criminal.
Mine's not criminal.
Yours isn't criminal?
No. Mine is a public service announcement.
Oh, it's crucial. It's vital for the public's health.
Yeah.
Well, very good, Janet. Well, we'll come back to that when we hit you with some more Another Look.
It's an award-winning lunch hour every day at noon with the News at Noon and Valley Today. Listen live on air, online, or on demand at theriver953.com. That's theriver953.com.
And we're back with some more Another Look. Janet, I'm on the edge of my seat. The audience, they're on the edge of their seats. We need to know what this public service announcement is, because the second you characterized it as a public service announcement, what all of us thought was just, blood, sex, violence, interesting stuff. PSAs are usually the most compelling stories out there. So please, Janet, I can't wait to hear what you have to offer here.
So meanwhile, in Atlanta.
Now,
I found this story on nypost.com because they've become quite a fruitful source of information. However, this story actually originated from the Associated Press.
It was AP quality.
It was AP quality.
Wow.
And the headline, Health officials to public, stop washing and reusing condoms.
Now, hold on a second, Janet. This is a family show. This is unprecedented that you would get so filthy. Good God. Do you work at a nail salon?
Health officials are reminding people that condoms are not reusable.
What do you want? This was in the New York Post and the AP? Who are they talking to specifically? How many instances? Where? I want to know this demographic.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention tweeted on its sexually transmitted disease site that condoms are for single use.
Okay.
Officials say they needed to tweet the message because people are washing or reusing condoms instead of throwing them away.
See, now the image that I get in my head is just like a group of like 100 women in the Ganges River with like washing boards. For some reason, that's the image. This is so dumb.
The agency also says condoms have expiration dates.
Oh, yeah. That's good. This is good. This is awareness sort of. So you don't bother washing them, in other words.
Yeah.
Because you might have a dud. you might have a blank.
The CDC says correctly using condoms can reduce but not eliminate the risk of sexually transmitted diseases. They can also protect against other diseases that may be transmitted through sex, such as the Zika virus.
Oh.
And this concludes your public service announcement.
Do. Oh, what's our PSA thing? What's our PSA? The River 95.3. Here's what's happening. Condoms are not reusable. Please do not wash your condom. Not even if you live next to the Ganges River. I understand the opportunity must be tantalizing. But remember, they do have an expiration date. You cannot reuse your condom. I hope we can do that. I really want that to go up. Because we get enough complaints at this station from the my number 2 doesn't even look like a number 2. That commercial?
Is there a number 3?
Is there a number 3? Just the saddest sounding woman, just like depressed and haggard sounding.
She clearly needs a reusable condom.
I don't understand why. What, to brighten her spirits? You just wanted to say it again. Reusable condom. Oh, man.
Top that.
No, I can't. I'm going to say right now because I chose a crime. I didn't have the stones to choose a PSA.
Yeah, see, and here's the other thing. Here's my other secret. That story was published on August 2nd, today at 10:36 a.m.
Good God,
So
woman.
I'm trying to find things that I know have published after you've done your thing on the morning show, but before we've done another look so that you don't know about it.
You've got a window. That's interesting. But I still find my stories last minute, though, anyway. So it really doesn't matter all that much. But that's a good point, because I do get so much weird news that you cannot... you got a way better shot if you slide in there. But...
so what do you got?
Well, okay.
I mean, it probably won't top the Ganges.
No, it probably won't. But I can say this. This happened in Nashville, North Carolina.
Oh.
Weird. Police said a man took more than $100 worth of steaks, stashed them down his pants, then used a moped to get away from his alleged crime. Now, Janet, this isn't even the best part. There are a lot of layers here that first line doesn't acknowledge that I read earlier.
Did he put condoms on the steaks?
No. Yeah, he just...
Because you might be able to reuse those, because technically you didn't use them the first time for what they were meant for. You were using them more as a Ziploc bag.
To freeze steaks later on. He just stuffs them in one and slings it over his shoulder like Santa Claus. Oh, man.
Continue.
All right, so these steaks were Walmart steaks, first of all. We have to point out this guy was in a Walmart. Second of all, this wasn't just your classic like moped chase with the guy with steak down his pants. I assume they're sweatpants. No. This was in the pouring rain, Janet. In torrential rains, this guy in a moped was hurtling down the highway with
Okay, that might be a bit of a stretch.
hurtling down the highway. Must have been hundreds of miles per hour. Incredible speeds. High-stakes police chase. They're doing hairpin turns. Tires are screeching. Rubber's burning. But you can't even smell it because of the damp just plummeting down on their heads. Janet, it was a hell of a chase. They said they found at least 9 packages of steaks stuffed in Jordan's pant legs. I guess his name's Jordan. When they pulled him over. In his legs, though. That's interesting, too.
Well, they were. Yeah.
He didn't even try that. I guess they all just dispersed where they would. I guess they fall to the legs after a while of riding on the moped. I guess you can't sit on them while you're on the moped. They said he left the store without paying for them. Obviously, why would they chase him down? But they had a lot of fun with this guy on social media afterwards. Like they were real jerks. The sheriff's department. They went ahead and posted on their Facebook page. Hashtags included "No steak dinner tonight" and "No steak for you." Hashtag "No steak for you." I assume that's a spinoff the Soup Nazis famous "No soup for you" from Seinfeld. So yeah, that's what he did. It was a relatively short story, so those are all the details. I kind of had to, I don't know if you could tell, make a lot of that up.
Yes, clearly whoever this gentleman was, his father should have worn a condom and thrown it away when he was done
Well,
the
that's
first time.
harsh. Janet, you can't judge a man from one simple mistake that any of us could have made. But for the grace of God goes you, Janet. You could have very easily been on that moped that day. This guy took a hit for you.
I am pretty
ask
sure
me.
I couldn't have very easily been on that moped.
All right, you know what? That's enough. I'm tired. Oh, I'm laughing too hard. I'm just exhausted at this point. It's been another dumb episode filled with pointless PSAs and dumb stories. We hope you enjoyed it, and we're going to have the same thing next week. These come out on Fridays, so stay tuned. And go ahead, Janet, where are we available?
In the Apple Podcast app and the Google Play Music Store, along with the River 953.com.
That's right. And we got some ad space to sell on these
Yes.
suckers. So if you're a condom salesman, for instance,
Yeah.
great opportunity for
yeah,
you.
It's perfect. Or, you
Yeah.
sell steaks.
We tell-
or mopeds. Or
We tell them people get in trouble for stealing
but no
steaks,
meth
they buy your
no,
steaks.
No meth people.
No meth.
We're not going to advertise your meth for sale.
No meth. And with that, I think it's appropriate to conclude another condom-filled episode of Another Look.